Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy scallion, we can't buy time. You can't fool me again. Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. You touch up line and a resort to crime. You can't fool me again.
What we gonna eat no money, what we at you, eat no at you. Covid money, me say we eat the yellow correct you. Use the youth, them money, waste and bust a man to statue. Say me like a catch you, but they got in a figure you. Take the spit of money, got and say that is not you. On the head, the man above him, him a got a bet. Too much it in the kitchen, some a fly well like a patu. When singers and DJs and social media's coming at you.
It burn me,
300% raise.
it burn me,
Garbage pile of the day.
it burn me,
Give the teacher them
it
raise.
burn me,
I see corruption
it
face.
burn me,
Mash down the people them house.
it burn me,
Every day appear arms out.
it burn me,
Appear money them a thief.
it burn me.
And them a sell out the beach.
Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy scallion, we can't buy time. You can't fool me again. Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. You touch up line and a resort to crime. You can't fool me again.
For me say dig up all the charities and all of the giver. Some a go like say them powerful, me no make a bigger. The 100 the promises, none of them not deliver. Cut up the youth, they rap and they down in a whatever. Member bowl money and they lie them tell. Corruption smell and they pocket them swell. When police don't a market like Satan out of hell, go mash up people start and thief for themselves.
It burn me,
Or they treat the market man.
it burn me,
Or them a treat the cat man.
it burn me,
Or they treat the peanut man.
it burn me,
Or them a treat the dirt man.
it burn me,
Or them a treat the soul man.
it burn me,
Or them a treat policeman.
it burn me,
How them a treat soldier man.
it burn me.
How them a treat everyone.
Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy scallion, we can't buy time. You can't fool me again. Can't fool me again.
Stibby dim day. We in Global TV says certain kind of friend we no cape. And some informer friend we love lake. We in Global, bona fake friend and bona tape. We in Global, we not promote them, we not support them. Look at them on the cheek, come here represent for we in Global TV. Check it.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us and welcome to the Global Television Group. We are sticking this evening to the breaking story coming out of Jamaica of the Prime Minister's uncertified statutory declaration and other criminalities we are being made aware of this Prime Minister. The tax evader, the embezzler, the scammer, the chopper, the everything terrible of a Prime Minister. Good evening and welcome to my community of party and all my family members, platform moderators, membership holders, viewers, subscribers, commenters, and trolls. Good evening and welcome. Ollie Foster, David Jervis, Beat and Teach, Sim Sim, Cousin Jamie, Natalia Freeman, Elaine Watson, Abinasa Cody, Violet Watson, Beat and Teach, everybody, Marcia Thomas, Yvonne Riley, Deb, good evening, Noreen Dennison, Miranda Roddock, Everton Facey, Gloria Morris, Marcia Thomas, Unique Ray, Denise Hall, Lorraine Taylor, Michelle McKay. Good evening, all, and welcome. Like and share the live, please, because we're going into the Prime Minister's dodgy dealings tonight from the tax evasion angle, Nin Miles, as well as the Prime Minister blatant disregard for our laws, the Prime Minister's attack yesterday, Chris, 2971. The Prime Minister's attack yesterday on the Integrity Commission. The Prime Minister's impending attack on the legislation, the Integrity Commission Act of 2017, Pauline Claudette, which is quite a very recent legislation under this very government. Boy, the fish throw the net and the fish get caught. Hallelujah. The fish threw the net and the fish got caught. Prime Minister, caught in your own webs of lies, deceit, corruption, money laundering, tax evasion, embezzlement, a litany of crime, Prime Minister. Not only for the 8 years as leader of our country, but during your time at Ministry of Education, Prime Minister, dangerous looting and shooting was uncovered, was it not, Prime Minister? And you were referred to for prosecution, 2022. The rug though was pulled by Keisha, Keisha, Claudette, and Paula. Keisha, Claudette, and Paula, never mind Tom, who quees the chigger, Tavares. Christine Gilbert, good evening. But before I speak about the Prime Minister's tax evasion and all of that, I came across something on Miss Hannah's page today where she gave a tax breakdown, Gloria Barris, because I know some a capital dunce. So when it comes to the number things, I can't explain them for you. But I think Miss Hannah did quite a good explanation on that. Let us listen to Miss Hannah, then afterward we will get into the crook of the century, Colleen Dahmer.
The government hopes $924 billion in taxes is what the government hopes to collect from all of us as a means of covering the expenses of running Jamaica this year. So let me break that down and tell you what that means. So you know that there are different taxes that must be collected to run the country. Income tax, and they hope to collect about $321 billion in income tax, $300 billion in GCT or general consumption tax, another $66 billion in customs duties, $99 billion in the special consumption tax or SET. And before I forget the other billions, just check the caption where I've broken it down. And the reason why I went here this week is that when I looked at what a minimum wage earner was spending as a percentage of her salary, a woman, on menstrual pads, a necessity every month, which represented 6% of her monthly salary, man, those figures got under my skin. And so I decided to dig deeper, and I decided to look at other items. So let us assume that we have another essential item that costs a minimum wage earner $3,000 for that month. So if you look at it, then, you know, they spend about an average of $300 on import duty tax and another $400 on general consumption taxes. So if you were to look at the tax inclusive price of that item, it's about $700. Follow me, please. So if they're earning a salary of $60,000 monthly, then it means that they're spending 1.2% of their salary on the taxes, not even on the item, on the taxes for that single item. Whereby the same item, the tax implications to me is only 0.094%, less than 0.1% when I compare my salary, which has a monthly take-home net pay of $742,000 after paying my taxes, which is $300,000, that is taxes coming out of like statutory taxes every month. So let me put it another way. A minimum wage earner is spending 12 times the percentage of their salary in taxes than I am on that same item. And there must be a better way. So if you think of how you drive the North-South Highway, for example. So if you drive a Class 2 vehicle, the round trip cost to, say, going to Lidford from Kingston or Golden Grove is approximately $7,600, while a Class 1 vehicle driving the same route pays half the cost. So someone from the highway collection regime decided that if someone could drive a Class 2 vehicle or a bigger vehicle, then perhaps they could afford to pay a higher rate than someone who drove a smaller vehicle for the same route. Now, obviously, we live in Jamaica, and we know, say, not because you drive a Pro Box versus a Q8, it means that you have less money than or more money or whatever money. Cars don't tell how much money you have. That's not the point I'm making. The point that I'm making is that someone has taken the time to rationalize the charges. And what I'm suggesting is that the same way people can take the time to rationalize charges, we should start rationalizing the charges that we're meting out to our population and the stress that it is causing them. Because guess what? Regardless of which government is in power, whether it is a PNP government or a JLP government, you need taxes to run the country. That's undeniable and that's not debatable. But still, when they start collect the taxes from your salary, I remember the first time I got my first paycheck and I looked at how much money was taken out for taxes. I was like, but this is not right, this is not fair. Where are my taxes going? What am I really paying for? This can't be right. Is our tax policy really fair or is it outdated? And so you start beginning asking these questions. And so the question I ask today, is our tax policy even progressive given where we are? Should we reevaluate our tax policy since we're not growing the economy significantly to meet our people's basic needs? In other words, when we add up all the taxes, what portion of a minimum wage earner's salary is paid in taxes compared to someone earning 10 times that amount? Should GCT be one rate on food and a different rate on a flat screen television? I mean, GCT is the government's second largest revenue earner. And I really hope that GCT collections are optimal and in keeping with what all the merchants and service providers should be paying. But let us assume that the government needs that aggregate amount to run the country, right? They do need the 900 billion. So if we reduce the collections from one area, then we're gonna have to find the taxes from another area. So what I'm recommending and what I recommended this week in my article is that we shift the tax burden away from the working class or those persons who are low wage earners. And we transfer it to members of the public who are in better positions to afford it. And before you jump on top of me and exclaim, Lisa, you are crazy. I am tired of being taxed. I'm just tired. Let me explain what I mean. So, over time, I've suggested that we increase the food basket. And I'm not calling it a basic food basket. I think we need to get that away from our narrative because we are not basic as people, right? And we need things to live comfortably. And so I've suggested that we increase the food basket with a living basket with zero-rated customs items and GCT-related items to include things like breakfast cereals, things like tea, cocoa mix, orange juice, juices, things that people really need for a balanced nutrition, but that you add things like detergent. People have to wash clothes, bath soap, people have to wash their bodies. And that you start looking at what really goes into a person having to live their lives optimally. So not luxuriously, just optimally. And given that the customs duty revenues account for only 7% of the total tax collection, we could afford to eliminate this on basic items and perhaps transfer it to more special consumption taxed items on imported luxury food items, for example. And maybe wines, maybe other beverages, maybe grapes, I don't know. But let's look at it, because I'm convinced that there is a better way to reduce the cost of living to minimum wage earners. I'm convinced that, look, they've gotten a minimum wage increase and the government has done that, but it's still really not enough because the prices keep moving. So if we can't afford to pay them more, then let us reduce the cost of taxes on the products that they must consume. Because you see, if we reduce the financial stress and hustle in their lives and begin taking steps to move the working class to the middle, then, undoubtedly, many of our people could plan better for their future. And ultimately, it could redound to Jamaica's best interests, as all of us will end up having a more productive workforce and a healthier and a happier society. So if you're taxed and tired, then drop a comment and let's have a conversation.
Right. I hope I didn't bore you too much with that information. I came across that on Miss Hannah's page today. You know, me and Hannah them don't drink tea. But I think she broke it down well, explaining some ways to how the tax regime works in some things and what they can do to alleviate the taxes on the daily things them what we use on a day-to-day basis. I really think that makes sense. Why I brought this to you this evening, it is in context to what we've found out from the report tabled yesterday with regards to the Prime Minister's taxes. So before we ask Andrew Holness a few questions, let's look at the difference between tax avoidance and tax evasion. Now, tax avoidance, it is quite a legal method used by taxpayers in order to minimize your tax within a single territory, meaning the country you're generally domiciled in. Tax avoidance is the legal use of a tax regime in a single territory to one's own advantage to reduce the amount of tax that is payable by means that are within the law. A tax shelter is a type of tax avoidance. A tax haven or jurisdictions that facilitate tax reduction, those are type of tax avoidance. You always hear about the tax havens in the Caribbean, such as Cayman, another island. They have a tax haven state in the United States as well. They have like a tax haven in Jersey and Guernsey within the European Isles here and all of that. So they have a lot of these tax havens across the globe where high, powerful, and mighty people and people with corporation and all of that use that as a way of minimizing taxes that they pay to where they're domiciled. Tax avoidance should not be confused with tax evasion, which is illegal. Both tax evasion and tax avoidance can be viewed as form of tax non-compliance. Both can be non-compliance in tax, but one is legal, the other is illegal. As they describe a range of activities intended to subvert the state tax system. So it means both systems provide you a way to play around with the state to pay as little tax as you can pay. Now let's look at how tax evasion works and view this in context to what you are being made aware of coming out of the reports to do with the Prime Minister's company and the Prime Minister reporting of his taxes. So tax evasion is an illegal practice where a person or an entity intentionally does not pay due taxes. Tax evasion is an illegal attempt to lessen the payment of tax by individual, corporation, trusts, and others. Tax evasion often entails the deliberate, take note, deliberate misrepresentation of the taxpayer, which would be under Holness, affair to the tax authorities, which will be TAJ, to reduce under Holness tax liability. It includes dishonest tax reporting. It also includes declaring less income, less profit or gains than the amount you actually earned. Outstanding deduction, bribing tax authorities, and hiding money in secret location. Given the two definitions or meanings that you've heard of tax evasion, we're going to communicate now. Given the two meaning or definition or breakdown you've been given about tax avoidance, you there, Carlos? You still there? And tax evasion, communicate with us in the comment and tell us which of the two, based on the report, do you think the Prime Minister is being found wanting of? Tax avoidance or tax evasion? Hurry up, people. Hurry up. Hurry up. Get ready to go. Hurry up, my people. Based on what I have just explained to you, how the two system works, and keeping in mind the report tabled yesterday in Parliament with regards to the Prime Minister's declaration, as well as his tax affair, which do you think the Prime Minister is found wanting of? Tax evasion, tax evasion. Come on, people, get your fingers busy. Get your fingers busy. Two people have responded with tax evasion. Tax evasion is a crime. Unicre saying 100%. Tax evasion, without a doubt. Tax evasion is a crime. We have a criminal Prime Minister presiding over the country. Based on the Integrity Commission report, and the Prime Minister's tax reporting, we can fairly say that the Prime Minister has committed the crime of tax evasion. That alone is enough in any democracy for a Prime Minister with integrity, with care for the country, and care for their party to resign. But Prime Minister Holness does not understand the word integrity. Can't feel it at all. Your integrity and your wholeness are very far apart. Because I am sure, Prime Minister, if we never see you get hauled in front of the court for stealing, and we see your wife get dragged in front of the court for stealing, Prime Minister, then we can fairly say one of the 7 to come will be your wife. Prime Minister, your whole family. Let's take the government side out of it now. Let's take the politics out of it a bit. Let's look at Andrew Holness, the man, the husband, the father, the senior son. One who has brought his mother into his crime, his father, one of them, whoever he may be, into his crime, his wife into his crime, his children, even before they became majority age, in his crime. That man cannot continue to govern our country. He's not trustworthy. He does not have the credibility. Aren't you ashamed this evening to stand and say, I am proud of my country? Are you proud of your Jamaica after listening to the integrity report tabled and the petulancy and the belligerency of the Prime Minister on an investigative body, on our legislative process? You heard the Prime Minister stood at the dispatch box planning an assault on the Integrity Act. Now, in context to Lisa Hanna's argument, look at our long, outdated, complicated tax laws. The Prime Minister who you, with a minimum wage, are paying more tax on a percentage level than this Prime Minister. On a percentage level, someone upon minimum wage is paying more tax than the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister is dodging corporation tax, he's dodging business tax. The only one him probably not get away with is income tax, and because that come directly out of his salary, you don't know if there's any stitch up going on with that. But when it comes to the Prime Minister, business and corporation tax, the Prime Minister is reporting to you nil point. Nil point. The Prime Minister is reporting to you, I am not eligible to pay a dime because I haven't made it. But at the same time, your Prime Minister is been washing money through 28 accounts. Your Prime Minister has been washing money in 28 accounts. While your Prime Minister and Nigel is making sure that them drain every ounce of tax they can pay out of you. But the Prime Minister, as it turns out, has gone to criminal lengths to protect his tax evasion practices. Your Prime Minister, while your Prime Minister locked you down in the middle of COVID, your Prime Minister was enriching himself left, right, and center. While we have to underbid hide from you, Andrew Holness. Yes, we have to underbid hide from you. Money just a run through your 28 accounts, so. You just a turn billionaire overnight, so. Your wife can build multi-million-dollar apartment overnight, so. Shameless Prime Minister. You cannot continue to lead Jamaica. The PNP had made some calls. I want them to go further. But let's look at this other alleged criminal. He's been remanded pending trial. Thank God for that. Maybe another woman or a young girl is or would be safe till the storm passes by. You know how long me want you to get punished for Tupac? The People's National Party has called on Andrew Holness to resign. I do welcome that call. I have been calling for the Prime Minister for quite some time to resign. I've welcomed that call. But the PNP act to go further. I would support the People's National Party refusing to sit in our parliament until Andrew Holness resigns. I would also support the People's National Party staging a national demonstration across the country against the more crooked and tyrannical government we've ever had. Yes, time for we get rid of the jankro. You have enough dead meat now. Make more jankro come nyam. You one can't just fly down upon trees of Prime Minister. By the way, Prime Minister, you remember the circumstances where Darrell Vaz lost his visa. You would have remembered, don't you? Remember he was using his influence to sell rooms and beach for less than the market value, was he not? And after going to Mexico to collect the money, then Prime Minister, he lost his visa. It is alleged, Andrew Holness, that you got a cut of that money that Darrell Vaz went to Mexico to pick up. A long time you're in a criminality. A long time you're in Darrell Vaz at the drugs, Andrew Holness. That's why your asset cannot be verified. Because a long time you and Darrell Vaz in a drugs dealing. The Prime Minister must resign. He doesn't have the credibility to continue. The Prime Minister is not trustworthy. The Prime Minister, not only a lot of the thieves around the Prime Minister, but the Prime Minister himself has regularly been found wanting. The Prime Minister himself has been under the corruption probe for quite some time. The Prime Minister is not cooperating with the investigators. Hence, him can't provide the information and him galangin cannot get certified. This criminality, Jamaica, cannot continue. This level of criminality in our government cannot continue. It is not sustainable. It is not a good look for us internationally, given how we've been perceived on the corruption index. This make it even worse. This is what we call our Prime Minister in Jamaica. This is what represents us nationally. This is what represents us internationally. Hmm? It represents us as a nation. Are you proud of this, Jamaica? Supporters of the Jamaica Labour Party, do you support this? The Prime Minister said he does not accept the findings. Hey, they not change our here. We no must see and hear. Shelley there, if you get the roast, Shelley, you could have tell we say you get the roast. Shelley, if you get the roast, you could have tell we say you get the roast. So if I know you get the roast, Shelley, tell we say I know you get the roast, make we quarrel and say then. We ask you to change your ear and we advise you a good hairstyle there. But still yet, you come back with baga boo. Anyway, move on. This is another thief here from Colonel Charles them ministry, where she and her family them and her in-law them on 23 million. I think I'm afraid of the government here. Every time you turn a government here, hand stick pan something. Every time, you know. Every time you turn. This government hand stick pan something. Why we have to go walk with Kobar? We have to go walk with Kobar for yank this government hand off our things. Because lest we walk with Kobar and Holness, by the time you left, no, let's see nobody, you know. When Mark Golden come, Mark Golden will be running an empty country. The way you and the 40 thieves are going on, Prime Minister. By the time Golden get there, nothing other than to run. Because Prime Minister, at the time, at this point, you're running it down. And while you're there with your green shirt, with the Bible in your hand that should blaze the fire every time you touch it, Prime Minister. That's why me don't get the power what some people have in the Prime Minister. Because the Bible would have catch a fire in your hand when you touch it. When you walk in an Adventist church, you would have walked in as a blaze of a flame of fire. Prime Minister, me would have burn you up. If God was like man, Prime Minister, your hand would have fastened upon the Bible there. Maybe the only way we can get you fit up thief, if we get your hand stick to something else, where it can't come off and touch for we goods, Prime Minister. I only so we can get you fit up thief. But Jesus Christ, it has become a habit now. Prolific thief, Prime Minister. I never hear about you yet, and you're not a thief. Every hearer hear your name. The Prime Minister is thieving. The JLP Jankro, they must say. Can't no Jankro in the JLP. We're not Jankro. Jankro normally fly up JLP when the meat done off of the bone. The dog will normally draw the bone across the district. But when JLP still stand up over the dry bone, Jankro fly back up in the tree. The bone dry. The meat come off. All worm and fly eat off for them to eat off. So you know, say, when worm and fly eat for the dog and the Jankro part, done. Fly up back. There's something we want to out here defend. Oh my God. Aren't you shocked of your utterances? Why when everybody speak them against you? Why when everybody speak them at PNP? Is there a PNP school in Jamaica where they train you how to speak as a PNP? There's a PNP school in Jamaica where they train you how to talk like PNP. Because listen, As soon as they talk about this government crookery, chicanery, yeah, PNP, me no PNP, you, me no labor right, me a Jamaican. So that's why we can talk about a crooked prime minister, a criminal prime minister who is draining the nation with taxes, but a multi-billionaire, a money launderer of a prime minister with his 28 washing account, drunk leeching, come here, canker. You know, clear find this, you know. You are provide the water and the wash pan. Have you not? Dirty leeching. That's why you run come. I did TV JRCV me drunk run pan where they talk about the Prime Minister this and because you are getting out of it leeching. You are the one who provide the wash pan, the wash basin, the water, and the detergent leaching to wash Andrew Holness money. Is it not? The jugs money for Juliet Holness' uncle, Andrew Holness. How much of it have you washed through Leaching's bank? Leaching, how much jugs money have you washed for Juliet and Andrew? Leaching with the wash pan? Hmm? Leaching with the wash pan. How much have you assisted in washing Andrew jug money? Because hope I account them a few galang in them there, innit? Have you assisted in the swindling of Usain Bolt's money? Leaching? But let me talk to the labor right. This shows that no have no ambition. We view the whole army in the same way that we view the Prime Minister. And let me tell you why. Over social media and in the mainstream media, you can't be honest with the Prime Minister. You continue to encourage and coerce the Prime Minister in his criminal activities. You, the Jamaica Labour Party, members of Parliament and councillors, to have not, and I'm talking to you, the backbenchers, to have not spoken independently to the nation since this has been tabled and what we have found out. You all regularly draw on the Westminster system of politics. Let me explain to you what would have happened yesterday in a Westminster Parliament after such report has been tabled about your Prime Minister. Both MPs on the backbench and on the opposition front bench would call on the Prime Minister to resign for the better good of Parliament and the nation. That is what would have happened in the Westminster Parliament yesterday if a report like that is so tabled in Parliament. But rather, Parliament was gagged yesterday. The leader of the opposition once more had to go on the street to make his view as to what was said in Parliament similar to what happened in the budget presentation. When you say it's a government of gangsters, a bad manism, but to see you all stand aside and is allowing Andrew with a destroyed credibility, Andrew Holness that cannot be revived. None of you, as a matter of principle, stand against this crooked Prime Minister. All right, you cannot deal with principle. None of you, from a matter of political strategy, would even look at it to say, we cannot continue with this captain. If we continue with this captain, the entire ship is going to go under. Do not think, Jamaica Labour Party, that this entire party and the criminal protection of the Prime Minister will be forgivable at the polls. The longer you protect and coerce Andrew Holness in his crime, you're abating the wipeout of the Jamaica Labour Party at the next election. There is a hole in the bottom of the boat. Water has already started flowing in. Bail all you must. Certainly, the ship is going down. There are, though, still lifeboats on the ship for those who want to throw the Prime Minister over. He could get picked up by a Coast Guard. You might never know. Throw me overboard and let the ship go free. God move and the wind blow. You remember that story and that song, don't you? But a Jamaica Labour Party, a criminally aligned CIA, gangsterized, gun and drugs affiliated party, created against the interests of the people and to be an opposition to social democracy in Jamaica. The party was never built on shame or integrity and ambition. The party has now grown into a pensioner. It is hard for you to teach a pensioner new tricks, or they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. What the old dog will do is stick to what the old dog knows best. And it's how the Jamaica Labour Party has evolved under this Prime Minister. A wave of gangsterized criminality by this Prime Minister and his cronies. You're all allowing Andrew Holness to take all of you down with him. For those of you who have leadership ambition and hope to lead the Jamaica Labour Party after Andrew Holness, you are hoping to lead in eternal opposition if you continue like this. That's what you're hoping for, because don't forget, and let me tell you all this, on the global TV lens, Andrew Holness will be the headline until 1, he steps down, or 2, an election is called. Otherwise, we're not going to call your name. Otherwise, every day we come out here, we're going to remind you, say, you're a thief, your wife a thief, you're picking them a thief, your mama is a go-go dancing thief, one of your papa them is a thief, we don't know which one, because 2 you have, we're going out here every day. We know you're a sex harasser in a parliament as well. We know you're from where come out now. We can't say you may be involved in racketeering like P. Diddy. You may also involved in human trafficking, Prime Minister, because the Americans them did say the Jamaica police involved. And like how we know, say you are the minister of everything and all. So you, Prime Minister, involved in human trafficking and racketeering as well, don't you think? We're not going to let go off of you. You come out our way, then we'll let go off of your shirt. It's as simple as that. But you can't have it. The cake, put the cake up on the top of the fridge. Sit down in the sofa full of belly of the cake, Mr. Holness. Where your ear go so jankro? Hmm? Drunk will go so, nothing no go so. So therefore, the PNP should do what Andrew Holness did to Portia. Refuse to sit in parliament with such a criminal until he resigns. The debacle of the Labour Party, all of the drunk them over the stain. There's nobody over there credible that you can think say can take over. All of them stain. Why? The Labour Party supporters them shame. We're not quiet over social media today. Too quiet. Miss Una all a take set pan the gleaner now. A brand the gleaner. So the gleaner PNP paper. And I must say, I was listening to Dan Jackson Miller today because I would prefer listen to people like Dan Jackson on our YouTube page as opposed to listen to her on all angles where our editor them I tell them what to discuss or whatever. And Dan Jackson Miller breakdown of the report and dispelling of certain narratives. I'm convinced that Dan Jackson Miller was telling Andrew Holness, it's a silly argument and it's a silly move the way you're attacking the Integrity Commission. She never called Andrew Holness' name, but Andrew is the one who carry out and launch the blatant attack on the Integrity Commission. So, from the YouTube lens, Dan Jackson don't buy the labor rights story. Dan Jackson is more in line with what's coming out of the Integrity Commission. But then when you know, so them over TVJ, them dance different tune or whatever. But Jamaica, it's time for us to stand on a unified issue and ask this Prime Minister to go. Those of us at home who can demonstrate against the Prime Minister, it's time we take a stand against this crooked Prime Minister. This is a shame where a Prime Minister asset and income cannot be verified without a lawful investigation from the financial division, investigative division. Is a crying shame to our country's democratic process. A prime minister we've found out that is an embezzler, a tax evader, a money launderer. We cannot continue like this, Jamaica. It is not sustainable to be led by a criminal. It is really not sustainable. And rather, the Prime Minister has not apologized to the nation once. The Prime Minister rejected the finding of the investigative authority. The Prime Minister went on a charge to tap the investigative authority. The Prime Minister went further and to attack the legislative framework or the validity of the Integrity Commission Act in order to evade justice, to evade accountability. The length that this Prime Minister will go to protect his criminal activity. What kind of 9-day wonder ladybug? Me a swallow in a drunk back. Me will take a ride to Andrew Holness' destination. I wanna talk about murder. Wanna talk about me a swallow Me will hitch a ride in at the junk back to the destination. Ease up round where? Huh? We're talking about criminal, you know. We're talking about a criminal. A criminal that is making decision for all of us. A criminal that has taken over the governance of this country by taking portfolio from his ministers and only have them as a water boy in his office. Lego Asawa. Judgment upon your bumbo, Prime Minister. Judgment. Hmm? What kind of Lego? The Prime Minister, with his majority, is planning to attack the Integrity Commission Act because the Prime Minister wants an urgent review of the legislation. Given the Prime Minister's majority in Parliament at the moment, let us watch to see the onslaught to come. We've seen time and time after this Prime Minister has assaulted our legislative process purely for his own political gains. We saw it with the Constitution. We saw it with the Electoral Office. We saw it with the political ombudsman. We saw how much we didn't even know that the Public Service Commission didn't have anybody there doing the job they should be doing until the Parla debacle ensue and they have to appoint the acting DPP. And before he has to appoint the acting DPP, he has to appoint the head of the Service Commission, who is under the authority to appoint public servants. This is a criminal government led by a gang leader of a prime minister. This is a criminal government led by a gang leader of a prime minister. Why it is important to get rid of Andrew Holness as soon as practicable possible. The majority he has, and with the prime minister's criminal intention and determination, he will carry out a swift assault on the legislative process in regards to the Integrity Commission Act before the People's National Party comes to power at the next general election, which is inevitable. For the good of the country, for the sake of our democracy, we must get rid of Andrew Holness. We must. Andrew Holness is the greatest risk to our democracy at the moment. And we must do everything in our power to remove this prime minister. The criminality has become too much. The crimes of this prime minister has become too much. It has gotten out of hand. The country is feeling the brutality of this prime minister. Now I'm confused here. I see have no jurisdiction for refer prime minister to the FID. Said the murderer, Tam Tavares Finson. Me confused. Who then refers the prime minister to for investigation of his financial affairs? Because certainly, Tom, what we know, as per the rule of law minus corruption, Tom, because when corruption is plus, Tom, it's quite a different thing. Minus the corruption. Who is under the authority to investigate the dodgy affairs of the Prime Minister's finances? Because the Prime Minister is not above the law when it comes to criminal matter. The Prime Minister, Tom, may have immunity when it comes to civil lawsuit while he's in office. But criminal activities, Tom, the Prime Minister is not above the law. As an attorney, Tom, quite a useless one could say. Would you be able to advise us as to who would be under the authority to investigate the Prime Minister's dodgy financial affairs, the Prime Minister tax evasion, the Prime Minister money laundering? Who, Tom? Can you provide us that the information? Clear it up for us. Who can refer the Prime Minister? Who can investigate the Prime Minister? And hold on there. Lawrence, all that have to do with crooked Keisha. There is enough for crooked Keisha to charge Andrew for. Twice now, crooked Keisha. They call her Kamika Price. That's her double barrel name. Crooked Keisha has regularly let the Prime Minister off the hook. I don't know if JLP are going to have integrity to get rid of Andrew Holness. Or if Andrew Holness left, it's just another thief are going to emerge for the little time where them have left, because nobody know over JLP with clean hands. Because you see, when you have clean hands, there's a clean mouth that is attached to your hand. When your hand clean, nobody can corrupt your mouth. Trust me. When your hands are clean, nobody can corrupt your mouth. Because you don't owe nobody nothing. Nobody not pay you for X, Y, Z. So nobody can tell you what it talks. When your hands are clean, your mouth is free. Ask yourself why 40-odd thieves mouth so silent. Hey, ask 40-odd thieves, why are you so silent? We not soon run come out to come defend the Prime Minister Barron, who not attack Gleaner, who not attack Integrity Commission, who not now go attack the Integrity Commission, Uno and Cliff and George, on a group of faggots, and get away with it. No, it's not gonna happen out here. We are standing for Jamaica. We're not standing for corruption. No, no, no. Cliff could have come out here under Holness, and it could have swell like bullfrog. Because we know how bullfrog blow up there and we see Cliff blow up himself Monday morning, blow it up. Blow it up, Cliff. All we have to do, Cliff, is just throw a handful of salt. We know how to deal with bullfrog. When them blow up pan we, We just throw a handful of salt. Salt and bullfrog don't go together, Cliff Hughes. So mind how you come out here, open your mouth. We always have a handful of salt out here. Cliff Hughes. You, the Cliff Hughes, will employ the crab leg thief, Cliff Hughes, triple X. You have credibility talks, you tax dodging faggot. You have credibility to come out here, come talk, Cliff Hughes. Careful with handful of salt out here. Come with 2 handful of salt after your Cliff. Don't come out here with your F-free. Wait till the 31st of December. When you see the whole of your politician, them at your ranch, and you're up on your knee, you're up on your back, or somewhere, Cliff, then you can talk. Not out here, so a clean heart argument. Won't I go with it? You who call yourself mainstream media, pack it up. Jump and sound. Pack up. You jump and sounds of mainstream media. Pack up. Have you not heard? Your music is not coming through. The mute button, jump and sound, pan your sound, is being pressed. Pack up and go home. Don't make no sense out here. I mean, not an iota of it. If I get a bucket of rocks right now and I put it next to George Davis, Chanel Pullen, or any one of them, Kitty the Lot, I mean, the bucket of rocks would rattle much harder than any of those piece of so-and-sos that's gonna have over there. Talk about mainstream media. What is it about? Who are they? How old were they? I mean, from 1066? 1066 has long passed. Go. Have you not heard of the news in the palm of your hands? Have you not heard of conversation on the go, you doubtful, docile, backwards, loathe set of things? Come out here, want to fool us. You swelling bullfrog. Everything that came out of the report, especially the addendum piece of the argument, is the narrative that Cliff continued to put out and George Davis from about 2 days after the report Japa Parliament. Dirty Gillette, Batty Boy Andrew Holness, who leaked the report. Are we not done with that part there yet, Because there's a whole tirade across social media as to IC and the People's National Party leaking the report. No, everything will come out of the report. What Cliff narrative was, is pattern coming out of the report. But the only person them have access to the report at the time was Cliff's very own friends. Lord Jesus, what has Jamaica gotten itself into with this current fleet of Jamaica Labour Party politicians, particularly a criminal Cumberland Road zinc fence mindset of a prime minister? So Jumping saying they welcome the involvement of an FID probe into the prime minister's finances. Prime Minister, all I want the truth to come out. You and your wife is the only person. But the JLP them know. Them will come out a while and say, oh, this is a never-ending probe into the Prime Minister's financial affair. You have left a word out, my dear. Dodgy. Dodgy financial affairs. When you're left is so without the dodgy, that's the misleading part of it. Dodgy financial affairs. But if you talk the same thing them right, stop misleading the people them want to talk. Talk it how it go. but I like to leave out word to confuse people. It's not just the Prime Minister Financial Affairs that are being investigated. It is the Prime Minister dodgy financial affairs that are being investigated. So if you talk this thing them how it go and stop confusing people them. It look like one prostitution ring did a run side of one school in a Falmouth, in the Falmouth village, as per the Trelawney municipality. And them claim so them had demolished the building. But I wonder what did the municipal corporation know and go on right next to the school before now? Lord Jesus. Come see us. Right. This story in St. Elizabeth. First, we hear 7-year-old gun finding a 7-year-old bag at school. Semi-automatic, what's it erotic? Then we hear the father arrested immediately. Then we hear the father was released. And we hear the threat was made to the school. Now we have been made aware that school classes for that school are being forced online because of the threats. Hey, Jesus. Somebody hold me tonight. Should I go loose? Somebody come and hold me. We're mentor them. Dirty mentor. Whoa, murder. Somebody hold me tonight. May I beg help to come hold me. Don't make me get away from mentor you tonight. Somebody come stop me from run after mentor. Lord Jesus, from Jamaica people. But everybody come, take liberty, disadvantage, kick we go yaso, kick we go deso. The football that we have become to crooked politician, the gravy chain we have become to crooked politician. But some of you would have remembered just the other day, dirty mentor amongst hundreds of police and soldiers and send them to their compound in order to assist the Prime Minister in their land theft in their compound. We saw a train of police and army people going into their compound. Over 50 vehicles going into their compound to protect the Prime Minister's loot from the territory. This same mentor cannot provide security to our school so that class can continue. Because of the threat, school is not in proper session. Certain things force online. So why can't, if the government could in such a snap of a finger muster up so much troops and vehicles To go into quick step, dirty mentor. Mentor with the oxtail bone in your mouth. Pepper steak, mentor. Curry goat, mentor. Because them said you come from Huntsville. And if you come from Huntsville, mentor, then you're coming from the hotbed of corruption and criminality within our law enforcement. Isn't it, mentor? Within the snap of a finger, you can roll up into their compound and tell them you have no respect for treaty. And you want to aggressively arrest the chief. This mentor cannot protect one education facility. It is one education facility we're talking about. One education facility in St. Elizabeth we're talking about. And Superintendent Minto cannot provide protection to our teachers in order for class to continue. If death threat is made against a school, Minto, what we're going to do? If death threat is made against our schools nationally, what we're going to do? Close schools across the nation? When we have so much dirty, hungry, cocoa bread police with them foot pan desk in a guard room. When we army people them, dirty Andrew, Mark Golden, Ghana, Haiti, gonna protect America's foreign interests in a Haiti. Or school, just one photo one dege, can't open because of a threat to the teacher's life. And we have army personnel to send on a sovereign territory to protect America's foreign interests. This government is not working in our interests. This government works in the interest of America's foreign interests, or in the interest of the Prime Minister and his wife and family and a few friends' pocket. There's not much that is really about us. Very little that is really about us. That is how your government can take your tax money, use police resources, that expedition in quick step to steal those lumbers over those few days cost your government millions. Millions of state resources was put into that motorcade and that heavy staffing level that the Prime Minister sent into their compound from the police, the military, and the forestry department. But your same St. Elizabeth Black River Police cannot protect a school in our parish so that our children can have a face-to-face education. Something that we know that didn't work in COVID. Something we know that didn't work there. So when it's within the government interest or America's foreign interests, this government will use our resources to protect thus. When it's really come to what is important to the people, though, this government don't give a F2Y. They really don't. And you can see the shameless, blatant disregard of this Prime Minister, even at his shameful utterance yesterday at the dispatch box. Anybody with integrity, Prime Minister, would have put their head down in shame and walk off into the sunset with whatever they have looted. But no, this shameful piece of shit has the nerve to come and attack the nation. Because when you attack a body that investigate corruption of government and public officials on behalf of the nation, Prime Minister, you attacked the nation yesterday. When you try at the dispatch box, Prime Minister, or nation's highest podium, Prime Minister, when you stood at our nation's highest podium and tried to discredit the credibility of the Integrity Commission, Prime Minister, that was a violation of the nation's trust. Because we trust them to investigate you, the crooked politician and public officials. The criminal organization wielded by this government. The criminal organization ruled by this government. Reiterating Mark Golding's word, corruption is rampant under this government. Rampant under this government. But if you weren't on this morning's show, we want to remind you of another serial criminal. This time is a social media known serial criminal. I don't remember if I him named Oshin. I don't want to get mixed up with the brother their name. I think I him named Oshin Finley. But if I know so, I'll correct it. But otherwise, I'm commonly known as Jabas. A rapist, a con artist, a criminal gunman, a criminal aligned to a lot of Black River police, a criminal that drugged and raped family members, a criminal that is on a tirade scamming women over social media, particularly over the TikTok platform. This criminal must be aware of. Don't be conned. Don't be sweet talked by this criminal. Always be aware of this criminal. He must not come around you or your children. Jabas raped both women and men. Jabas ought to be aware of and be careful of. Don't be caught in Jabas crimes and scams. His mother is from a district called Brompton. His father, his late father, is from Parati, my community. Be aware of a criminal on the loose. Be aware of a criminal on the loose. To be forewarned, it is to be forearmed. Be aware of your politicians as well. A bunch of spin doctors, looters, shooters, rapists, criminals, and murderers. Wrong-uns at their best, they all are. As a people, as a country, we deserve better. It's time as a nation that we take a stand against corruption, but especially against corrupt politicians. More so importantly, against a very corrupt Andrew Holness led regime. It is time, Jamaica. It is time. The people of Jamaica must come together, unite, and move this Prime Minister. The People's National Party must refuse to sit in Parliament with this corrupt government. The People's National Party should also stage a nationwide protest against the most corrupt government we've ever been involved with. I want to thank you all very much for being here this evening on our broadcast. I know we came on a bit early, but we just want to come hold the Prime Minister and rub him, because we're going to headline the Prime Minister until, as I said, the Prime Minister does one of two things: immediately resign, or the Prime Minister must dissolve Parliament and call an election. This will be the headline story until Juliet Holness report is being released. Thank you all very much for your support. I appeal to you once more to like and support the program. If you like my program, you just support it by hitting the like button. Support it by sharing it to your WhatsApp group, to your Facebook page and groups, so that the program can go to a much wider audience. People who need to be informed about the corruption and the criminality of this government. People who needs to be awakened from the slumber and the Kool-Aid drinking of this set of cronies that we've all ended up with. Bunch of criminals and wrong-uns. Thank you very much. Thank you for your support. Good evening and good night from the Global Television Group.